Hello and welcome to today's live stream for the Bond. It's absolute thrill and pleasure to kind of have you all here tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. In a moment, going to introduce you to the production team. Please do post comments. Say hello. Tell us that you're here. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, then please feel free to ask those questions. So without any kind of further ado, I would like to welcome in from the green room into the chat the Bond production team. Hey everybody, how are we all?
Hello. Hi Sophie, thank you for having us.
Oh well, thank you for kind of joining in. So we've got Erica, you're the the writer,
Hey.
the director, and the producer. So thank you, Zoe, you're the filmographer and the co-producer. And Becca, you're an actor and art director. For the fun. I'm Sophie from Colours and Fires, and I've also been helping out with some of the soundtrack and what have you. So, hey, how are we all? How is everybody?
Really good, thanks.
Yeah, pretty good.
Cool, excellent. So, exciting times. We've got this wonderful film that's coming up soon. Today we're here to kind of share some news on it, share some insight on that. So, should we just kind of straight into it? So, Erica, what's the film about?
So it's basically like a fresh take on a zombie storyline, but it's not your average gore fest. You know, there's like sort of like brain spatter and stuff like that going on, and it explores what would happen after an infection devastates a country but leaves the dead with a limited capacity to be trained and used by the government. And in particular, it follows one of the dead, Ziva, and her handler, Alex. And it covers areas like control, friendship, some LGBT themes, and also human rights. And it just sort of, the Bond really hopes to sort of challenge what it means to be human.
Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. It sounds really, really good. I mean, so what kind of inspired you to write a story like that?
I've often got a lot of stories like bouncing around in my head, but this one in particular is sort of like stuck in, and I couldn't get rid of it. And there was some scenes in particular that really stuck, and it seemed really actiony in my head. Usually I write stories like novels or short stories, but this time I decided to write a play because it felt so actiony, like in my head. So I did that, and actually it's a bit unusual because I have a really, really extreme fear of zombies. So it's a bit weird that I went down that route. Zoe will vouch for my zombie phobia.
Fear of zombies, yes.
It's not irrational fear. A fear of zombies is totally rational, mate.
It completely makes sense. It totally makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Wow.
How did you get everybody? How did you get everybody involved?
We put a call out for people to get to get in touch with us if they were interested, and then we had some great people get in touch with us. Becca being one of them.
Yes,
Becca,
indeed.
Tell us how you got involved.
So I saw a post on Facebook going, "Do you want to be in an indie film?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." So I originally emailed Erica about acting, and then I said, "By the way, I also do a bit of props if you need any sort of help with that." And they basically bit my arm off.
Like a zombie.
Yes, you like a zombie.
Oh, brilliant! That's really good. So, what kind of how did you get involved, Zoe?
So me and Erica have known each other for quite a while. We worked together, became really good friends, and I basically hang out at her house quite a bit. And Erica had written it, and drinking. Erica had written the script and sort of asked me to not proofread because my grammar's terrible, but just have a look at it and check it out and see what I thought. And I read it sort of within an hour when she sort of popped to the shops, and when she came back I was like, you really need to make this. And then I basically bullied her every day that I saw her until she agreed. And that was it. And one of the turning points was she was getting so angry with me by the end, just saying, well, if I do it, you're going to have to help me. And I went, all right then.
And then I had to do it.
And then Erica had nothing, nothing to fight back with. She just had to do it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So sorry, Nikki. Most of this is my fault.
Nikki is my wife, my very long-suffering wife, for anybody who's wondering who Nikki is. Also, the finance officer for the film.
Yes.
So how
To
long,
keep that in check.
how long does it take from from your first kind of like the idea, and when you've kind of pulled together the script and decided, okay, this is something that you want to go for, and you got in touch with people like Becca who wanted to kind of like volunteer. So how long has it taken to get from there, from like the first day of filming to like where we are now on the on the cusp of a near release?
So we started filming in October 2017, but actually there was pre-production before that, finding all the locations, getting in touch with actors and things. I think I first met Becca in August, was it?
Yeah, I think it was about that.
You were one of the first people.
I remember us having our first sort of production team meeting around the beginning of August, end of July. I can't quite remember. Yeah. So
yeah, it's been quite a while, Sophie.
Well, I mean, and everything's cool coming into shape as well. We've got Abby Jones is on the chat saying hello. So hello to Abby Jones. Remember, if you are watching, thank you for everyone that's kind of tuning in. If you've got a particular kind of question that you would like to ask, feel free to post it into the like the chat window of the live stream, and it will come up, and then I can ask the questions because they're in the magic room of Zoom, in the green room, in which we're then kind of broadcasting through here. I'm getting sidetracked because on my phone it says it's got subtitles are on. I don't know if subtitles are on for everybody, but I don't know how to switch that off. So it's like, okay,
people may need subtitles by the end of this.
Yeah, I think it's just me. So apparently I'm the one that needs subtitles of my own kind of thing. So what was it like to be kind of like part of the part of the crew, part of the film crew, going through the whole kind of filming? What was that kind of whole experience like?
Well, I might let these guys field that question because I was sort of in charge, so probably a bit bossy, and yeah, they'll probably just say I was mean.
Well, I have a different. I guess my experience would probably be quite different. I mean, obviously, like Becca was there for every shoot because I was the person who was filming it, and it was being filmed on my phone. So if I wasn't there, it wasn't going to happen. I don't know how people would have felt about it being the witness to it, but I know that me and Erica used to have quite a few disagreements while filming, which weren't heated but would probably seem quite uncomfortable to other people, but in reality were just sort of a clash of, without sounding cliche, like artistic minds, because to be fair, we forgot about it instantly. I don't think there's a disagreement we had over the film that I can actually remember. I know that at least one of the actors said to us once, I do find your relationship a little bit uncomfortable sometimes because I don't know if you like each other or hate each other. Because one moment you'll be like really sort of seething at each other, and another moment you just be pissing about and, you know, just having a laugh and just being
Pushing her under the table.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So I remember it being stressful because it was really intense, and
it was very intense.
We sort of basically squeezed all the filming into the space of like 3 months, which meant every weekend, evenings and whatever. And personally, I mean, I know everyone else was doing it on the side of other things, but I had 2 jobs and was doing my nursing degree, and well as trying to hold on to a relationship. So you can imagine like how bad that was. Oh, and fundraise to go to India. So I was really stretched anyway, but I just
you did it all, didn't you?
Adding a film to it was just but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
When it finished, I really missed it. I really
this kind of big hole must have left a big kind of hole for you, because it must have taken up quite a bit of time and what have you. And Becca, how was it for you as kind of like the arts kind of director and what have you? Just generally, rather than anything kind of specific. How was that? What was it kind of like being part of the whole kind of film crew?
Oh, it was often cold, but also it was really sort of rewarding, especially when I'd like spent a lot of time like making props.
Yes.
And then I'd come to a shoot, and then everyone will, and then see those props sort of being like used or worn, and everyone going, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" It was very nice for my little heart.
Great. That's cool. And there's quite a lot of like camaraderie that's going on within, kind of like outside of the film. Obviously, everyone's kind of focused in the film, and we've got.
They were all amazing. They were all the whole crew and cast were absolutely amazing. Such hard workers and stunning people.
And we've got a little clip that we're going to show now. It just shows you, and this is kind of like a behind the scenes, and this is kind of the clip's aptly named "Stunt Banana."
Do the banana thing, okay? Come. I don't know how you held that together, mate. It's banana for the
I don't know. That never happens, I swear to God.
Banana, he was trying to hold it so it didn't fall apart. Performance anxiety.
He's never done it in front of a crowd.
It's our last banana.
Oh no.
What, do we want a new banana?
That's
Another banana in my bag.
Oh,
okay. Oh, wait.
Banana, that was quite funny how everything kind of was just kind of collapsing and what have you. It must have caused you all sorts of kind of issues and concerns.
It's carnage.
Oh, that was fantastic. We've got some questions coming up, some shout outs, and we've got Kelly Hickson says hello.
Hi Kelly.
Paul Gallantry says evening all.
Evening Paul.
Hello Major.
And Elmo has joined us as well, so welcome to the party, everybody. We've got the question, how do you fit such a wonderful project in your busy lives?
Oh, I don't even know. I genuinely don't know. It starts to be something that you like eat and sleep and dream, or not sleep. Actually, it's the case for me and Zoe a lot of the time. We would work until like 1 or 2 in the morning. I find Becca asleep on the landing and pee her off, take her home, and then we'd get up and go to work the next day. And it was, it's not something you do unless you like really want to do it, I guess.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what's been the best part so far?
Oh, I guess that's going to be personal to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. So whilst you're thinking about it, Becca, what's the best part so far?
Oh, I don't know. I think there was a point really early on where we had like a stage combat workshop, and even though I didn't do like a huge amount of sort of combat in the actual film, we all sort of like came along, and I really enjoyed doing that, and sort of like, because we sort of like got to know each other and sort of got to learn a few new things as well. And then on an individual level, I really enjoyed making this one particular little sort of spray prop, and sort of doing the maths about how many sprays exactly the bottle would hold and everything.
Oh, fantastic. And Erica, Zoe, yourselves?
I think there were moments throughout the film, and at the end of filming as well. There's one part in the film where a lot of the actors, they're all acting in this truck, and finished a scene, and the engine went off from the truck that was being filmed, and it all went quiet. And I just remember thinking, I like grabbed Zoe's like arm, and I was like, "We've made a film! We've made a film!"
That moment of realisation.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
and we all had like a glass of fizz and stuff in this like beautiful clearing.
When
this
you
lovely...
said the truck, I thought you were going to talk about how your favourite thing was me hanging out to the back of it to film that scene.
That was also funny. That was that was a good moment. But I remember having this glass of like fizz in this clearing in this forest that this lovely guy called Dan lent us to film in. And it was like one of our last sort of scenes that we'd shot, and the sun was going down. There was like a sunset, and we were all drinking this cheapo fizz that we brought with us. And I was just like, "Yes, done it!" And yeah, it just felt really cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just putting my bottle of wine down. Just get it out of the way.
Paul's just saying, you may be pleased to know that I'm currently wearing the Major's jumper. So that's really getting into...
Hey!
Love you,
Paul.
Paul. Yeah, he plays our wonderful Major in it. You might have seen his character promo go out today, and I think he like shouted himself hoarse on a lot of the scenes where he's like doing drills and stuff. So hey, Paul, I'm glad that you're still using the jumper.
Cool. Go ahead, Zoe.
I would say that my favourite bit, which will sound really weird because anyone who knows me knows that I hate being outside in nature for long periods of time when it's raining. We did an all day on that same ground to film the sort of final, sort of one of our final scenes, and we got there earlier on in the day and rehearsed a lot of it as much as we could.
In the light.
Sorry?
In the light, because it was
in
dark,
the light,
so
we could see what we were doing. And then we trotted off to a pub where we had like biscuits and coffee, and then everyone got ready in the pub. And then we drove back to the field in the pitch black. And if I remember rightly, Erica took us all in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
and then we went to this. So the normal field that we were filming on was this clearing, but just off of the clearing was just sort of like this bit of hill with loads of trees, and we filmed inside that. So I mean, that's pretty dangerous. It's pitch black. We've got no light whatsoever apart from people's head torches.
Yeah.
And it was raining, and it was a real grimy night, but everyone had such a good time, and it was really sort of intense filming. Everyone's running around and screaming, and it's like wah, rah, rah, and just throwing themselves on the floor and spitting fake blood everywhere. And I didn't have enough light with the cameras because I had a head torch on, but it wasn't enough, so I had someone walking behind me with another light and just trying to keep, and it was just so much fun. And I mean, I really genuinely hate being outside for more than 5 minutes, and you know, in the rain as well.
It's a fag, isn't it?
And it was a dodgy terrain because it was on a hill. So basically, anyone who knows me knows that that's my worst nightmare. But the outcome from it, regardless of the fact that it took us all day to do, and we've got like, I don't know, Erica will know exactly, I think it's approximately 3 minutes footage for the actual film. it's worth it because it looks really, really great. And I think that sort of almost feels like a sense of achievement, and to know that everyone works so hard, I think is what's even nicer.
And so, do you have any kind of like stunt doubles on some of those kind of like more kind of tricky scenes that you had on there?
Nope. Everyone did their own stunts.
We had a few. You had a few stand-ins as well.
Yes, there was a couple of times that we had to do. Oh, we've lost Erica.
Okay, I'm back.
there was a couple of times that we had to reshoot because good old, not going to mention exactly whose cloud it belongs to, but whoever's cloud it wasn't saving it the way that it's supposed to save, and some footage got deleted. So we did sort of a couple of nights where we had to go back and redo the footage. And you know, understandably, this was like 3-4 months after we were filming together, so people were busy again. They made plans. They weren't sort of keeping their weekends by for us. So so sometimes we couldn't get the person that we needed in the scene, so you know, we put another person in a wig.
Right, so we've got a clip of that now. So this is having a stand-in to the film. So just watch this.
For my close-up, darling. Couldn't support me.
Because obviously we would have had the other thing.
Okay.
Action.
Cease.
You could hardly notice that it was a different person on that scene. That was so brilliant.
It's good, isn't it? Good old Dan.
Needs
That's
must.
wonderful.
It was handy we had that wig.
It was handy that we had. I don't know why we had that wig.
No, well, I had it because I dressed up as Freddie Mercury for a fancy dress party, and when we heard that Mandy couldn't come, I think it was like a few minutes before I had to leave or something, and I panicked, so I just grabbed this wig and was like, right.
Well,
That's Mandy.
certainly worked. Another couple of questions. Let's go for who was the most difficult person to work with?
Who asked that question?
One of our viewers. Shall we say?
Why am I not allowed to know who it was?
It's an innocent question. I don't know what you say.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
I think it was probably me.
It's all right, Abby. I won't tell him it was you. I promise.
Sometimes Erica would be like, "That's not how I want it," and you'd be like, "But I don't know how you want it." I'm like, "But just not like that." And
And then
it's like, okay.
And then I go like, look, give me the camera. I'll show you how I want it. Oh, I can't make it work either.
Yeah, and I'd be like, all right then.
I mean, for example, I'm really rubbish with technology. So today, Zoe gave me, and she has decided not to give me admin rights to our Facebook page for this very reason. She gave me admin rights to our Facebook page today so I could correct a typo, and I accidentally deleted the video for an hour or so. So I am having those rights removed.
Yes. And I did it because I didn't have time to change it myself because I was at work. I was literally just walking through the doors of the hospital when she messaged. I was like, I'm just going to make you admin and you can do it yourself. And now I don't want her to be.
Brilliant. Oh, that's really cool. Let's see if we've got any other kind of questions. So other people can ask questions as well. Thank you, Abby, for putting in some wonderful questions. But feel free, anybody else that's watching, thank you again for for joining in, watching our live stream. We're here talking about the Bond film. It's an exciting new movie from the crew that's in front of you here, and by Erica Evans. There was a thing popped up and then it disappeared. Oh no, there it is. Congratulations on making film. How does it feel to have finished it?
Well, I'll let you into a little secret.
We'll tell you when
It's not quite finished.
Not entirely finished. It's so close to being finished. Like you can almost like just about touch it because
I
it's
know.
so close to finishing.
You can
And
taste it, you can smell it.
Smell it.
Sense it.
So close.
Thank you, John Cod, for that question. That was really nice. That was brilliant. Oh, okay. So, Becca, as kind of the arts director, you've made some really interesting kind of props and what have you throughout the movie. What kind of things did you have to make? Did you electrocute anybody? Was everything kind of fine?
It was close.
We haven't planted any of those questions, Becca. I'm just saying.
There was some slightly dodgy soldering involved on some head torches, but nobody got electrocuted despite it being near their heads, so it was fine.
They did really well.
There were a couple of really interesting ones for me. One of them was making blindfolds that people could see through.
Okay.
Because the characters were blindfolded, but they needed to run, and we're not letting them. We're letting them punch each other, but we're not letting them run around trees blindfolded because they will run into the trees. So I needed to sort of work out how to make the blindfold in a way in which it looked like they were blindfolded, but that they could still see enough to not crash into everything.
Oh, how clever.
So that was a really exciting one for me. And it was really exciting when I figured it out and sort of put it in front of my eyes and went, oh, I can see! I think the other one that was really interesting was making the dead body.
One of the best props.
You had
Hands down.
You had to make a dead body.
Yes, well, I
couldn't find one.
I'm glad that you made a dead body, and it wasn't that you decided that you were going to
find a dead body,
and then use that. So, tell us a little bit more about the dead body.
So I've been sort of like reading the script, and it was sort of like, this person dies, okay, and then they burn his corpse.
As you would do, of course.
Yeah, of course. So then I had to work out how to make a body that looked enough like a body, but that we could burn it and it wouldn't matter. Okay. So, which led to sort of an afternoon in my garden piling sticks and bags of sand and whatever on top of a sheet, and I was sort of going, this doesn't look realistic. This doesn't look like anything. I mean, I've added my brother's shoes to make feet, but it doesn't look realistic. And then I sort of put the sheet over it and sort of tied the bits of string around the where you tie the string. And then I sort of looked down and went, oh no, it does look like I've killed someone.
and then to top that off,
success.
yeah, and to top that off, Sophie, obviously, like, I'm going to say obviously because, when you would only burn a body at night, because everything was being done at night.
Yes, make sure it's past 9:30. You don't want to burn too early.
I mean,
Cats will start having a go at you and have you,
so
breaking all the bylaws.
I went into Becca's house. So at night time, in the dark, me and Becca are carrying said body out of her house and into Erica's car. We're then carrying that body in the dark out of Erica's car into someone's house, and then to top it all off, another lovely guy, Matt, lent us his garden because he had sort of like this big sort of pit area in the back of it that we could turn into like this big fireplace. And there's a train station's right behind it. So when they're burning this body in this train, I am surprised that we did not have the police called move.
So whilst
Because it
you,
really,
so whilst
really
you,
looked like it.
so whilst you were filming it, people were on a train and could see
Yeah.
you throwing a body onto a bonfire,
Onto a fire.
in the back
Yeah.
of some random house in
Yeah,
in
and I can tell you that when it was on fire, it still really looked like a body. It didn't just look like a fire.
It's all right. It was all the shot that they used to put there.
Oh, that's just so amazing. Well, in fact, we have a clip of that, and we have a clip of that scene. So you're now going to get opportunity to see kind of like how realistic this this body was. So just bear with me one moment.
He taught me geography at school.
Yeah, me too. I hated him. He was always giving me detentions.
Still, what a shit way to go.
Such an incredible, quite a moving scene as well. Kind of bringing everything, kind of the whole poignance of the whole kind of situation that they're in. It's so realistic. Are you sure that wasn't actually like a dead body that you were actually burning? That was an actual prop?
I'm very sure I definitely made it. I have photos of the process of like sticks and then body.
Yeah, and you've seen your brother since, so it's all okay.
Yes. He's in his bedroom now.
And has he ever wondered where his shoes suddenly got slightly charred?
Oh, he knew that he wasn't getting them back.
Of an online release to begin with. So if that's the case, it will be on YouTube, which will be available everywhere. The whole entire world.
Okay, so hopefully, sorry, all the technology decided, I don't know quite how it's going to come up on the Facebook, but we suddenly had a brief moment of disconnect and then a brief moment of reconnection. So we are still streaming. So a bit of a heart attack going on over here.
I'm just checking. It's still streaming.
It's still streaming. So yeah, no, that's good.
I can't work my own phone, so I don't know.
You've given up entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'm gonna have a yogurt pot with a bit of string. Becca could make it for me.
Are you sure you're not going to get it tangled? What you'll end up doing is you'll be wearing you'll be wearing a coat with two yogurt pots, one on each hand. And you're like, how did I get this wrong?
If anyone's wondering why our host is being slightly rude to me, it's because she's been helping me a lot with the soundtrack, and she has come to realise how absolutely rubbish with technology I am.
No, it's fine. No, I just have to. I think we've all learned a whole new level of patience.
We all love you, Erica.
We love you very much. We've learned a new level of patience with you. I mean, I know also as well that there's some very kind of serious messages within the whole story, all the way through, but also it was quite a lot of fun making it by the sounds of it. You all kind of like had a really good time.
I think so. I'd like to think people enjoyed themselves as well as got hypothermia.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of there are a few times that I really didn't like. I was put in some very compromising positions. In fact, I remember 3 months after filming in one area, Erica sent me back for a bunch of flowers that we left there 3 months after, saying that they would still be there. And I said, no, they won't. And she said, yes, they will. Can you go and have a look, please? So when I went back, this area was like a good sort of half hour, 40 minutes away from where we were in the middle of nowhere. So I had to walk to find it. But the walkway had become all overgrown and loads of trees had fallen because there had been big storms. And I thought, Erica really wants these flowers, even though they're not going to be there. So I'm going to walk through it anyway. And I walked all the way through it and got a little bit lost because trees had ruined the pathway that there was originally. And I thought I would never ever make it back. And what do you know? The flowers weren't there.
A deer had eaten them, I think.
So when I walked back and Erica went, oh, that's a bit disappointing.
Okay, so it's a bit of a... I think it's a delayed answer to who was the most difficult person to work with. We got there in the end, Abby. It took a little while.
Honestly.
Oh, that's brilliant. So,
she's loosened up. She's had a bit of wine now. She's like,
I've had a bit of wine now.
She's going to spill it all.
If money was no object, what scene would you have spent the most money on? Obviously, without giving away any kind of spoiler alerts. What's the if money was no object, I think which of the scenes would you have invested in a lot more money?
It's hard to say without spoilers. I think without doubt our biggest cost was paying for locations, and we didn't actually have very much money, so I was paying for most of it from a second job that I had, and some savings that I had. Locations are really expensive, so we had some fantastic people really help us out. Some community centres and things like that really helped us out. Priestwood Community Centre in Bracknell. I don't know if they're still open. Not because we touched it.
Priestwood Community. Well, I don't think they're open right now. But Cooper's Hill in Bracknell as well.
Yeah, Cooper's Hill were brilliant.
I know is unfortunately won't any longer be a community centre. It's going to be taken down for houses. But
South Hill Park gave us some great locations, and like I said, we were given some really good outdoor locations for free. They are definitely the most expensive things. I think it would probably have been nice for me to pay somebody to edit it. I've had to learn how to do that, and I'm not that brilliant at it. I don't know. Part of the challenge though, Sophie, is making, when you make something from like almost nothing, that's one of the like nicest things about like being creative and having to think outside the box. There was one scene where we wanted like a big gate opening as people came out the barracks, right?
A big what? Sorry, that broke up. A big
gate.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, opening this big gate, and we didn't have one, so we got a small piece of chain link fence and tied it to a broom handle. And when the actor went like that to open the fence, I had it on the broom handle. And I went and opened it. And actually, it's like things like that, which were quite like they kind of tested you. And like Becca will probably, say that there was there was pretty much zero budget for the props. And she was there like soldering in her like garage, like making like she taught herself electronics and stuff. It was amazing.
And I think as well, like, having money to, even if we had a bit more money just to maybe, adapt a few things just so they looked a little bit more polished, that, probably would have been really nice. Like Eric said, to pay towards locations, maybe some more suitable ones maybe. But I think that the charm in the film is that it's rough around the edges. I know that when we first started filming it almost has like a documentary type feel to it. Although now it is more feature film. Like Erica's editing has given it that more of a vibe, because when I tried it, that didn't work. But I think that I think that actually I don't think there's any one thing that I could pick out and say, if we had more money, it could have gone there. I know that we
paid some people, I suppose.
Yeah, we could have paid.
Everybody that worked on the project was a volunteer. Like every single person that worked. Oh, we paid for a stage combat workshop because we really didn't want people to hurt each other.
Yes.
And we paid for locations, but everybody who gave up their time to act in it or to crew it was a volunteer. And honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you that were involved. You're all amazing.
Yeah.
We've got another clip now. Try to make sure that I'm all primed. Right, that's the one. So it's kind of like a bit of a look behind the scenes again, showing you how much fun it clearly was. Just with all the hard work and what have you. This one's called "Finding the Right Angle."
Let's go around one more time. A smooth dog, please.
Oh no, she could go. Yes. Oi. Yeah. Is that good? Yeah. It's okay. I'll hold you in place.
Everything feet is stroking.
No, it's fine. I won't get her in the shot.
You taught me geography at school.
Sorry. You just told me that.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me.
She's running! This is the next option! Just gonna run behind!
Oh no.
Right, okay.
Nature. Right. Don't move. You've got a spider on the phone.
Action! I'm sorry, I flinched.
I love your laughter, Zoe. Your laughter in all of this is just so brilliant. When they're running around that corner, you're like,
Oh my god, that was so hard to keep still. I could not help but flinch because their feet were coming, like literally, they were like right there. I was on the floor balancing the camera on the ground, and that was it. These feet were coming, and I was just like, oh no, I've just got to move. I can't stay still.
I can't tell you the amount of
My favourite
hours.
part of the clip is when Erica goes, "Got a spider on the camera." I really hate that. Yeah, great. Could have just removed it, but no. Tell me that.
Yeah, I've had to edit so many hours of Zoe's laughter out of footage. It's like basically like there was actually. I'm glad it was like I had to edit more laughter than crying out of that. So,
yeah, that's true. It could have been that.
Yeah.
Or did you have to edit a lot of?
Yeah, there was a lot of sighing, a lot of angry sighing from the camerawoman.
I love how you were hiding underneath the bed just so that you could still direct, but without actually being in the main kind of shot.
The amount of shots I've got of people going, "You're in the way, stop it."
Yeah.
See your arm. So yeah.
Erica did a lot of trying to be out of the way, which was really funny.
It was fun. There was one scene at the end which is like this really dramatic scene, and the two actors that were in it had done this brilliant job, and it was super intense, and Zoe had the angle, and I could see them, and they were coming, and it was going to go past me, and I was going to be in the background, so I just threw myself on the floor, and they just walked over me and carried on, and it worked. It's made the cut. It's in the film.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And then obviously, and from your perspective, Becca, as well, kind of like because you also, rather than being just like the being sort of like the head girl in charge of props, you also kind of in the film as well, so you also got to experience that kind of firsthand.
Yes, it was somehow with only about 8 lines I managed to be awful with them. but I think because I definitely did. It definitely
that
was.
Is definitely not true.
It definitely was interesting on days where I was doing both props and acting, because I'd spend sort of all day sort of getting things ready and getting everything sort of in the position, and then I'd suddenly go, oh no, I need to pretend to be this person now. Oh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus across. You've mentioned all the people, all the volunteers that are kind of part of it and what have you. There's a real big focus on sort of like local artists, local people. Even from my involvement with the music, you're also featuring many other local artists and featuring their music as well. So there's a whole big kind of like local collaboration, and that's something which is quite that's quite important to you. Why is that so important to you?
Well, it's going to happen naturally.
Yeah, I know that Erica and I, when we were sort of in the pre-production phase, we sort of spent a lot of time in the car sort of talking about it, and it just sort of was like when we started thinking about places where we could film, like different locations, it was just local ones that we were thinking of, because we've all grown up in these areas and we know these areas really well, and we can see them sort of matching with the film, and then from that it was just like, well, of course you would have local actors, because, well, we're not paying for anything, so it's unlikely that a volunteer is going to pay to come all the way, from 30, 40, 50 miles away to come and film for a weekend when we're not offering anything to them apart from obviously being in our wonderful film. And we know that we have so much local talent that never have the opportunity to have a platform to show themselves. And so this is the platform. And so not only are all of our actors local, all of our musicians are local, all of
we had some really good
local.
help, didn't we, from like some local drama groups?
Really, yeah. So a lot of our extras and some of our sort of smaller parts are a group of young actors from a Bracknell drama group called Look Beyond Theatre. They have a Facebook page, #JustSay. So
awesome.
These are a group of really talented young people that don't always get the chance to do something that's mainstream, and we reached out to them, said that we're making a film and we'd really like them to be involved, and Carla, who runs the group, was 100% for it, and the guys were just so professional and they wanted to be part of it, and they wanted to produce a really good piece of work. And I mean, I've never met a more professional group of people ever. I mean, me and Erica have known a lot of them for years sort of anyway, but it was really nice to see them in a different light. They were
amazing.
Great. They were amazing.
I think that's one of the things that kind of stands out for me. I have seen the film all the way through, obviously through kind of working with Erica for the soundtrack, and the level of professionalism from everybody that's involved, all the actors, it's just so natural, it's just so brilliant. It kind of like you take the characters to your heart. There are some certain characters that you kind of naturally hate because they're playing a very I'm sure they're lovely people, but they're playing a very kind of dark kind of role, and you kind of get drawn into the whole kind of set of emotions that you go through with them, and as you say, with the different the actors and what have you involved, they're just kind of testament to all the wonderful hard work that everyone's put in. We've got another clip, another interesting clip this time. This is with the Look Beyond that you were referring to in there, and so we help making them do sound effects, particular type of sound effects for particular types of scenes and actions that were required. Let's just have a look at that first, and then maybe we can have a chat about that afterwards. So This is the Look Beyond and their contribution to, as well as being in the film itself, but also, yeah, you're going to enjoy this.
Perfect. Anyone want a sandwich?
That was so realistic. It was. I'd say if you hadn't have kind of seen how those sounds were being made, you would have just naturally assumed that you physically were hitting each other, and you got the recordings really kind of like that was just so incredible. That must have been kind of felt so good, kind of like working with them.
Yeah, that was Erica's idea. We had such an awesome time. She's frozen, so I'm just going to talk for her. Is that okay? Is that allowed?
Yes, yeah, no, that's cool. Yes, we just carry on working through.
I mean, it is the proper old school way of getting sound effects, and still probably one of the most effective way of getting sound effects. And I'm, as a realist, we know what graphics and things do for films now, and we watch amazing 3.5 hour movies that take over our life, but in reality, like these films are good, like when they use old school ways of working, and those sound effects match those scenes really well. And like you said, if we just put the scenes up without how those sound effects were being made, you probably wouldn't know how they were being made. It'd probably just sound like it's coming from some kind of sound disc. So
no, that was absolutely fact. We do appear to have temporarily lost Erica's connection. I'm trying to negotiate through many different windows to see whether or not
Erica,
come back. We love you.
I mean, I could message her, but she probably won't get it. Let me try.
I'm not quite sure. It's a shame because I'm not quite sure. It's technology. This is what happens when
they have to dial in or whatever.
When we try to get very clever with excuse me, everything that we're trying to do. Whilst we're sorting that out, I hope you're enjoying the live stream. Hope you're enjoying the chat and what have you. Please do kind of keep on asking questions. There's another question that we've been asked. If you could have had any actor in, I wasn't available at the time, so I know that would have been myself. But if you could have had any actor starring in the film, who would you have chosen? I'm gonna also say who would you chosen, and then for which for which character and why?
Oh God! Oh, Erica's gone. I can't answer this question. It's about the actors, and I had no control over this. Becca, I feel like we've been left in a compromising position.
No, just say exactly the same ones that we had, and go. Yes, we loved you all.
I think that's a great plan. I don't think anyone... what we'll do is we'll edit that out, and then no one will see. Oh no, we can't because we're going live.
I mean, there are actors that I would love to meet. I mean, I'd have given them a part just for the sake of the fact that I could have met them. Is that acceptable?
I think
I don't know.
We'll try and see if we can get Erica. Our technician teams are busily trying to resolve.
Well done, Sophie. You're doing really good multitasking.
There's no one here. Why I can't even.
I'm going to just have to log back in.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few more kind of things. that we can talk about whilst we're waiting. So it's such a shame that technology is kind of getting the better of us. But again, I really hope that you're enjoying this. So we did have a question from Elmo. Did anyone take Erica up on the sandwich offer? On the end of the clip, when there was all the fruit and smashed on the floor, I was like, anyone want a sandwich? Because all the lettuce had all been kind of pulled back together.
Funnily enough, no.
No, it's kind of interesting, that one, isn't it?
I mean, in all honesty, I don't. It's a clean place, but if it'd been on the floor for a while, I'm not sure I would have eaten it. But you know.
I'm just seeing if we can get.
They really did enjoy making that though, and actually near the end you can see, I think it's Laura Rose, one of our actresses, that's smashing like 2 oranges together, and she just kept walloping these oranges together, and like just kept going. This juice was going everywhere. And the funny thing is that we were doing that, and alongside that we had a really good friend of ours, Rhiannon, doing headshots for the guys, because we thought that our gift to them could be free headshots. So they were upstairs in one of the rooms having their photos taken. She was calling them one at a time. So Laura Rose had sort of like whacked all of these oranges together, covered in juice, and then it was her time to have a photo taken. And I was like, oh, we didn't really think about that.
Erica, welcome back. We're so sorry.
Hey, you're all right. I didn't answer anything really badly.
Technology.
Yes, and don't worry, we didn't reveal any of the secrets. Zoe and Becca.
Whose secrets? My secrets.
Made me kind of behave and what have you. Cool. Again, thank you to everybody that's watching and stayed watching the whole
Despite
thing.
it all.
Despite everything, but this is it's going live, so we always have to kind of like. But so on a more serious note, there's a lot of kind of parallels, Zoe, with the main kind of themes and messages and the kind of like the storyline with kind of a lot of things that are going on today. We find ourselves in a very kind of peculiar, challenging kind of situation. We have this virus which is kind of affecting people, incredibly sadly. It's people are losing loved ones that are very dear to them, and there are just too many every day. It's just heartbreaking seeing kind of the quantity of people that have left us, and it must have caused a lot of kind of like tension, concern, because of the stark parallels with what's going on today. When bearing in mind it was written kind of a few years back before any of us had really heard of this particular kind of strain of coronavirus.
Yeah, it really does. And the more I was talking to some of my colleagues today at work about it, and the more I talked about it, the more I realised that there are so many more parallels than I actually envisaged, and just like little minuscule ones that you probably wouldn't have even, that I just didn't even think about. But so we know that the COVID-19 situation has been going on for a while, although it's only affecting our country, over the last few weeks, like really, badly. But we were very fortunate enough pre-lockdown to go on holiday. While we were on holiday, that's when we started releasing posters of the film, and we started getting a little bit excited. We started talking about, this is it, we're gonna show posters, we're gonna show promo clips, we're really gonna advertise, and because by summer that's it, it's gonna be ready, we're gonna have a premiere, it's gonna be out, it's gonna be wonderful. And that's what we were saying. We were sort of really, like I said, really lucky, sat by the pool having a beer, having these discussions, and we were really excited about it. And then we came back and then we realized actually things are a lot worse than what we expected. So I said to Erica, I think we had a message from a friend actually that sort of said, what a time to release a film about zombies. And so I sort of said to Erica, look, if you think that it's not the right time, I can halt the promotion of the film. You know, because in reality, cinemas are closed. We don't know when we have no idea when everything's going to be back to normal, when a big group of people can be in one room. You know, we don't know when we can have it out. And Erica sort of popped over, and we had a really frank conversation, and basically we were thinking the same thing. We were thinking that, you know, we think we should carry on in promoting the film. And the reason that we decided that, and we released a little video sort of explaining our reasons, obviously we'd had a conversation with the cast first, because we didn't want them to feel like they were involved with something that wasn't listening. Sorry, that's my dog, if you can hear that in the background. It's been paid. So the reason that we did it is because the film, although yes, is about an infection, and this infection is rife in the country, and this infection kills people, and there's a lack of a cure, and you know, it's really distressing and upsetting. It also looks at human nature and empathy and sympathy and the class system and our human rights and all of those things that we're all thinking about right now, and is so important. You know, we've got people that have lost their jobs and have got nothing, that are living, you know, with nothing. We've got people that are working on a front line, risking their lives daily, and the film has so many parallels, and it's literally life, like art representing life right now. And if I'm gonna be honest, Contagion's like #1 streaming on all platforms at the moment. People are going to watch these things, and that's not me being dismissive of what's happening, because it's, you know, I'm a frontline worker. I'm going to be really honest. It's not very nice, but this is something that we've made. This is something that we're really proud of. This is something that a lot of people who have been involved in it are proud of, and some of those people aren't with us, not COVID related, but they aren't with us now. And you know, these people mean a lot to everybody who's been involved, and I feel like we should, instead of ignoring the fact that if other people don't want to watch it, that's fine. That's what we've said. But if those involved are still going to want to watch the film that they're involved with, because it's going to invoke the memories that people need, and we should still be able to share that. So it was I know that I'm just blabbering on, but it was a really, we had a real long conversation about it, didn't we, Erica? Because it's a really important project to us, and we don't want to just put it on the back burner. And I know that it sounds like we may be ignoring the situation, but I think that we're not embracing the situation, but I think we're being sensitive.
I don't think it's not that you're, I wouldn't say that you're kind of ignoring the situation. I think it shows that you are embracing the situation. You are having those difficult conversations. You're kind of like showing it from a different perspective. These are messages that, you know, that really do need to be heard. This story does need to be seen. You know, the emotional journeys that some of the characters go through, you know, you need to kind of experience that. And I think what makes it more realistic is the fact that now, you know, the first time I saw the film, when we first started working on the soundtrack, was, you know, several months ago, and you know, even now through watching again with some of the sound layers on there, that's kind of adding a bit more kind of depth, a bit more kind of realism, a bit more of emotion to it. It just makes it feel just so much more real, so much more in tune with what's going. So, you know, I think something, you know, you all should be incredibly proud of. I mean, it's a delight, you know. Everyone that's been involved, everyone that's watching on the stream, that's going to be watching this video all over again. Hi, if you're watching this for the first time, you're going to really enjoy the film when it comes.
sorry, Sophie, one of the things that I do want to point out, and this just was one of the things that I was thinking about literally just today, are the parallels of what's happening right now to a lot of people with the protagonist of the film.
Yes.
You know, the protagonist is a very poor person. She lives in the slums. You know, she ends up being like a frontline worker, putting her life at risk, because and that is what we're seeing every day now, and I think it's really important. It might seem really fictitious, and it might be a little bit far-fetched, you know, because it is Erica's irrational fear of zombies that we're talking about, but you know, I'm gonna be honest, we're seeing it. That's it right now, and it might be sort of, you know, more District 9, you know, prawns living in shacks type situation, but it really is, if you look at the parallels, it's happening now, and I think it's really important to share.
I think as well, something which is really really important to share is the fact that when we were coming up with our promo material, we asked a lot of
where have you gone?
I think it might have been Paul who plays the Major. He said one of the words he used was hope, and I think that's a really important word at the moment. And I think if the film shows that and reflects that and portrays that and inspires that, I think that's really important.
And it does. All those things kind of come through. Becca, is there anything you want to add to this current conversation?
Very serious conversation.
I mean, I think Zoe said it all, really. I think what Erica said is very sort of I've lost the word completely, but it's like, it's at the end of it all, it's like it's a hopeful film. It's about sort of like the hope that one day it might get better, and it's sort of, there's parallels, but it's not exactly the same. Like if we change the opening narration to go, after early 2020 and what went on there, then, but we're not going to do that because that would be terrible. It's like a fictional disease with a lot of parallels, and I think the film is about sort of the hope of people sort of dealing with that and getting through it.
Yeah, it's and it feels even more important, I think, now. And that may sound macabre and quite wrong of me, but I think
you're right. I think
it feels a lot more important now.
So we've got Kaylee Hickson's just messaged her. I was looking on my phone, and I clearly can't see properly. I'm getting very old. I was excited to watch this. I am now very, very excited. Massive congratulations to everyone involved. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
And if there are any other messages that you want to give to everybody, we've only got a couple more questions left to go through tonight on the live stream. So please do put some stuff on the chat comments if you want to have a shout out and kind of say hi and what have you. It's just, I mean, even for the time that I've been involved in the project, it's just been absolutely amazing. It's absolutely quite thrill and honour. I'm very proud to have some of Colours and Fires music in there. I'm very pleased to be putting in some other amazing artists' music in there. All the music that has come through, it's kind of like Erica's kind of said, I want this here and what have you. We've made it work on the different scenes and what have you. And I feel, even though I've only been involved kind of like post-production, I'm still really, really kind of thrilled to be part of it. And, you know, obviously like everybody else, I can't wait to kind of see the whole kind of final thing. But so when when do we think that's going to be? When's the big launch, the big reveal?
That's $1 million question, isn't it?
That really is the $1 million question.
I want a like big red carpet. I want my like sparkly dress. I want all the.
We all do,
there.
Sophie. So unless you do that outside your own home, it's not going to happen right now. We do really want to have a big celebration, and that's one of the things that we've talked about from the very beginning is to find somewhere that we can fit, you know, everyone that would want to be there in, and get everyone together and just celebrate like this big thing that we've created. Like we really want to, and so I think that will still happen, but we just don't know when. It may be that, like I said before, that there's an online release, just a little online release. It'll only be available for a short period if we do. Before, because you know everyone's in lockdown, everyone's pretty board. Not gonna lie, so
that's what we'd like to do in an ideal world.
In an ideal world, that'd be great.
We'd like to get an online release done sooner rather than later, because, like Zoe said, people have been waiting for a long time. We're really super close. We're hoping June, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's our fingers crossed. But
which isn't that far away.
Has been involved. But it's not that
I know. I'm pretty sure we keep telling people like,
these things always take longer. Yeah,
it'll be summer, but we've been saying summer for 2 years.
Yeah.
It'll be summer. I'm pretty sure this will be the 3rd year of saying it'll be summer.
Summer is coming. Yeah. You know, but it's not just that. It's like we were talking about like the benefits of an online release. You know, as I think somebody mentioned in the comments earlier, it means that people in other countries can watch it. Obviously, when things are a bit more settled and a bit more safe for everybody, we'd love to do some releases in local theatres and local cinemas, because as we've already mentioned, those locality type, you know, local services are really important to us. But also, like Zoe says, a limited online release may be something which is going to be, say, a 3-week release online. A limited release could also be like just around the corner.
Very exciting. It's all very exciting. The whole thing, the whole project is brilliant. Fingers crossed for all of you.
Everything.
I think Elmo can't wait. Apparently Elmo's in the film. I've seen it.
She is
in the film.
And I didn't see
it.
I was like, why? I did not see. But apparently,
you're going to have to watch it again. Look out for her.
Very well hidden. Brett Davies says the net says hi.
Oh, hi, Annette. Hi, Brett. Hello, baby.
Oh, hello from Guernsey. I've seen you for such a long time. That's exciting.
Nanette played Alex in the film, by the way, and Brett plays Graham.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. So we've got Neil Noakes, John Codd.
Hi, Neil. Hi, John.
I work with John. John works.
Oh, that John.
Yeah. Stay up late, John.
Kelly. Anyone else want Samantha Brooks? Looking forward to seeing this.
Oh, hi,
Sammy. Last chance for some shout outs on there. Thank you. We could almost need like a closing clip, but we don't have one. We didn't think of that.
Use them all. Use all the good stuff. You just got us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you for kind of letting us kind of share the clips and what have you. Thank you to all of you that are watching for your questions and your comments and your continued support. I mean, please, if you're not following on Facebook, follow on Facebook. Look out for other kind of social media-y things. Keep an eye out on all the things that are happening and different updates. Look at the lovely little promo videos that are being shared at the moment across the team. So I'll give you all kind of one last opportunity to say thank you and say goodbye to everybody that's watching.
Thank you. And also, it's probably worth mentioning, I'm not quite sure when it's going to happen, but quite soon we have 3 of our actors, Nanette, Paul and Dan, who are also going to do a live web chat with Sophie hosting. And I think that'll be a really exciting one to watch.
Did you forget about that, Sophie?
I did.
That is on the timetable.
That's on the timetable. So thank you for
very
this
particular timetable.
This is the first
# subtle.
First of a few online and live. Colours and Fires. Please do follow us as well. Colours and Fires. Listen to our music.
Awesome.
I do a whole series of online and live. I do open mics. I do my own performances, and where we're trying to get people together and have these conversations. So today, thank you for letting me host this on your page.
Thank you.
And
Mate, you are the only one who knows this stuff well enough to make it work. But we also really love you, which is why you're doing it. That's the
thank you so much. Thank you. So in a couple of weeks' time, we are going to be back. So please do kind of tune in again. We're going to be speaking to some of the other actors, and we'll have some more clips and some more behind the scenes things and what have you, and another opportunity for you to ask all those questions that you wished you had of us today but didn't, and trying to get a different kind of thing. So this will be the first of a few of a similar kind of broadcasts as we're going through. So please do keep an eye out on the Bond Facebook page for further announcements and events for the next video, and who knows, possibly other ones afterwards as well.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Sophie.
Wonderful. So thank you all very much. Going to bid you all good night from Colours of Fires HQ, all of you that are watching, and thanks to Becca, Zoe, Erica. Thank you so much. Keep well. Stay stay safe. Look after each other. And don't go out. Don't go out.
No, stay in.
Stay in. Cool. So that's brilliant. Thank you all so very much. Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.